Hey there everybody, Mazarok here, and today I want to go through my guide for soloing Twisting Corridors as a protection warrior. Now, if any of you have watched my guides, I am a Night Fae warrior. I found for me it was a better all-around covenant for what I wanted to do. So, let's get to it. Right off the bat, I'm not going by any Icy Vein guides or anything. I'm going through what I felt was right for me. So, I was using the thunderlord stompers, but the thunderlord legendary. So each enemy hit by thunderclap reduces the remaining cooldown of demo shout by 1.5 seconds up to 4.5 seconds. There's a reason why I go for this one over the wall, because the wall becomes basically useless once you get a certain set of anima powers that we're going to get into later. But thunderlord is always useful. In fact, is kind of key to the entire build that I'm going with here. So as you can see, I'm not too high of an item level, 205. I'm not some mythic raider that's, 220 plus eye level geared. Very, very easily attainable for a lot of people. I had some areas I had an easy time, some areas I had a difficult time. It's just a matter of having to go through the motions and kind of watching out. So the talent set that I went with, Devastator, because the Devastate ability is not necessarily needed, especially as you get more powers in Torghast. You're going to find that you don't have the time to click the button and it doesn't do a whole lot. So this just gives you more shield slams and increases your auto attack. Very, very, very good to have. I go with double time. I really like the charge, and it's also really useful for another anima power that we're going to go into a little bit later when I start covering the anima powers. Booming Voice is your absolute play here, and we're going to get to why it's Booming Voice. I mean, it should just be your go-to anyway, but it's insanely good in Torghast, and it scales very, very well with the build that we're going to do. Bounding Stride. You can go with whatever you want, but Bounding Stride's best. It just gives you more leaps, and more leaps will give you a lot more damage with the build we're going to work with. Unstoppable Force. Now, this is where a lot of people will go either Ravager or into the fray. Unstoppable Force is the play with this build here. It gives you much more thunderclaps, which gives you more demo shouts, which in turn is going to give you more rage, more damage, and it's all going to work together. Because Booming Voice, demo shout generates 40 rage and increases the damage you deal to affected targets by 20%. This all starts coming together and working nicely. Where in a regular Torghast this might not work, it starts getting really broken on floors 8 and 9 and starts working really, really well. And then lastly, I go with Anger Management. Bolster is usually the play when you're talking mythics or raiding. It's the better play all around. Anger Management is the better play when it comes to Torghast. And at least Twisting Corridors. It really is. So every 10 rage you spend reduces the remaining cooldown on Avatar and Shield Wall by 1 second. Shield Wall cooldown doesn't matter in Twisting Corridors. Anger, it's all about getting that Avatar back down. Because what's going to happen is with certain powers, you're actually going to be able to get almost a full uptime on the Avatar, and you're already going to have a full uptime on Shield Wall. So right off the bat, everything's going really well together, and the more Avatar you have, the more thunderclaps you can get off, the more demo shouts that you can get. So you're getting it for every pack, and it's going to last a lot longer. But when we get to the anima powers, we'll cover that a little bit more deeper. I'm just going to go through the motions here and go through there. So for Soulbinds, what I like to do, I'm on a Night Fae. I like the Crane Tree. I like it a lot. So 10% damage to 75% and above targets. Really good. Last Stand is really good for your threat generation, especially in those early floors. Floors 1 through 6 are the toughest floors in Twisting Corridors. And then to some extent 6 to 9. Once you get your build down. Once you get it down, you're basically unkillable. Like, I was wondering whether I was even taking damage at a lot of points. So Last Stand is my preferred two there. The charge is nice. The Rallying Cry, you can easily go for Disturb the Peace. I just keep this on for raiding, because it's kind of where I go to, but Disturb the Peace is a very solid option to have. The cooldown of Shield Wall is reduced by 28 seconds. Stalwart Guardian. This is crucial in the first portions, the first 9 floors of Twisting Corridors. You want to try and get that cooldown as much as possible down. The Ignore Pain is kind of your other go-to here. But this in Twisting Corridors gets broken. 5.6% of the damage you deal adds to your active ignore pain. Well, there's a lot of anima powers that increases the amount of HP that ignore pain can absorb, and you're starting to deal a lot of damage with some of the anima powers that come about. This adds to a lot, so it goes through with the build that we're working with, which is really indestructibility. To just not take damage, to just negate as much damage as possible, and work from there. And then lastly, I really, really like this first strike. Damaging an enemy before they damage you increases your critical strike chance by 25% for 5 seconds. That's basically an anima power at your disposal all the time without cooldown. It is just super, super nice to have. So for prep that I go through, that I went in with the Twisting Corridors 8, I made sure I had like 20 drums on me. They're dirt cheap. Pick them up. It's nice to have the lust. Shadow Core Oil. The Heavy Desolate Armor Kits, it's nice to boost your HP at the start. My Twisting Corridors run lasted 2.5 hours. I didn't need to redo this because of the powers we're going to take, and I'm going to go through that. But it's just nice to start off with that little something extra. And a Flask of Power. Flask up for the first portion. I'm an alchemist, it lasted 2 hours, but at least the first portion. Give yourself any edge that you can give yourself. So with that, that's kind of the main portion of my build. Now let's swap over to anima powers. Which ones are traps that you should avoid? And because there are a couple. There are a couple anima powers that can absolutely destroy your run if you take them. And especially with this build, just will not work. But there's some that work insanely well with the build and how we're doing here. So here I've got this. This is the main list of all of them. First, I want to cover the ones that are going to be absolutely necessary to kind of make this build viable and workable. First one is Zoval's War Banner. So it increases the duration of Avatar by 60%. So this just increases your Avatar, increases the amount of Thunderclaps you're doing, and it reduces the amount of Demo Shout cooldown that you got. Super, super solid to have. The other one, this is going to be your main damage one, and this is when you hope to get early, but get it when you can. I have yet to run a Twisting Corridors where I do not get it before floor 9. I think floor 9 was the latest that I got it. So executes damage increased by 100%. Casting Execute 30 times allows you to use it at any time regardless of the target's health. Now if you're playing a Venthyr warrior, you're going to be able to use the Execute at the top 80 anyway, but that doesn't really matter. I'm playing Night Fae. A lot of people are playing Kyrian. Both are very, very viable. But this is going to be your main source of damage because that Execute gets to be huge, especially with that upped critical strike and everything like that. And it's going to be your main focus for large portions of single target damage. The other one, this is one of the keys to this build, and you want to try and get this early, is Unbound Fortitude. So it increases the duration of Shield Wall by 20% per application of the Soul Blessing, the Soul Remnant. This gets to be crazy. I've gotten 3 of these before. The third one I didn't need, but the other option was complete garbage. Your shield wall can have an uptime of 8 minutes per casting, and on a 3.5 minute cooldown, you always have shield wall. So reducing your damage by 50% in every scenario, every pull, at all times, is huge. Why would you not want that? Druids have an easier time with the permanent bark skin. That's only like 20%. You can get 50 with a permanent uptime on shield wall. So this is where you kind of want to make sure that you're fully clearing the floors, getting as many of those soul remnants as possible. So when you get these Unbound Fortitudes, you just notice the increase last on it a long time. Now, really, ideally, 2 of these would be good, but only 1 of them if you get a certain power. And that's not the one I'm looking for. Give me a quick second here. I thought I had it. There is a power that allows you, it's not this one, that whenever you cast Ignore Pain, you have a 50% chance. Bladed Bulwark, that's what it is right here. Let's go. Bladed Bulwark. Whenever you cast Ignore Pain, which you will be doing in this fight, in all of the fights, you have 50% chance to cast Shield Wall. Well, that casts it at its full duration set by the Unbound Fortitude. So if it's 8 minutes long, it will refresh that 8 minutes. So basically, once you get Shield Wall up to like 2.5, 3 minutes, and you get Bladed Bulwark, you're never going to have to worry about a scenario where you don't have Shield Wall uptime. It's going to constantly be up, it's going to constantly refresh, and it's going to just work really, really, really well. One of the big damage ones that I like, and this I find is actually the best Covenant Anima power ability there is, aside from the Condemn one. The Condemn one for Venthyr is super solid, but this one here I find is way better for AoE, which is a big problem, because those big packs can get bigger with patrols and things like that, and you can get wrecked. So Living Wood Pommel, your auto attacks have a chance to cause an Ancient Aftershock. This procs a lot more than what you may think. I have seen it literally proc 4 times in like 4 seconds from the auto attacks. It just goes bonkers, and it acts as an interrupt. So there is a chance that you don't have a stun available, you don't have a shockwave, you don't have your Ancient Aftershock available. Living Pommel will just go off and everything will get interrupted right off the bat while dealing crazy damage. Because there is also Anima powers that increases the amount of damage of Ancient Aftershock, which applies to this as well. So it just all works in synergy with one another and works really, really well. So if you have a chance to get Living Wood Pommel, super solid ability, the way to go. Now this one here, they're actually nerfing. And I think they're nerfing it because of arms and how it works with Venthyr, and I understand, because their Execute is already strong with Condemn. Giving them a damage increase of 200% with the Voracious Culling Blade, so the extra 100%. So you charge in 200%, you execute, it starts going nuts. But I really hope that they undo this nerf for Prot Warriors, because the damage is super, super nice. But especially once you get up to floor 9 and above, you're not one-shotting anything. You're not even coming close. So it's just a really, really nice damage, but is also why you want to take Bounding Stride and the 2 charges. So that way you're always having a chance to deal as much damage as possible and getting those going. Another one as well, and this is, these last 2 are going to work in tandem with each other, but one's more RNG, and one is always concrete. So the Resonating Throat Bands. Enemies affected by any of your shouts take 30% increased damage from all sources. This actually stacks 3 times to 90%. So you charge in with your Smoldering Inertia, getting the 200% buff. As you're charging, you demo shout. If it's a pack, and you have Ancient Aftershock up, Ancient Aftershock right off the bat deals dumb damage. If it's a single one, just go right into your Execute and you will just annihilate them in no time at all. So it really starts working really well together. Also, I should have stated that the Zoval's War Banner does stack 3 times, because you can get it up to 56 seconds, and with Anger Management, you'll basically have a full uptime on Avatar. So you're increasing your damage by 20%. It's a constant flow, and it just works really, really well and really synergistically with the Thunderlords keeping your demo shout up, bringing that cooldown, just increasing all of the damage. Because with this build, it's not one thing that's giving you tons of damage. It's, you're building everything up through a series of synergistic movements. Singing Stones is one of those that works really, really well with this. Is the duration of one of your shouts is increased by 500%. Which shout this Singing Stone affected is revealed when the power is selected. So you have 4 options here. I'll tell you the last one that you want to... So Rallying Cry is one of them. It's alright for healing. Not the end of the world. Kind of blah. Challenging Shout is another one. It will make it go 36 seconds. Intimidating Shout is your third, which will go up to 48 seconds, I think, which is nice. If you find yourself in trouble, having a 48-second Intimidating Shout is not bad. You let that loose, the packs disperse, you can start cleaving things down as you want them, and it just works really, really nicely. But the one you want is Demo Shout. Demo Shout lasting 48 seconds on a pack, on a mob, on anything is huge, because you get 90% increased damage from the shout, you get another 20% increased damage from Booming Blade. Hopefully you're charging in 200% damage. That is getting decreased to 100 on the PTR. Hopefully that doesn't stick with Prot, but we'll see what happens. And then you have 48 seconds of demo shot on them. So they're dealing 20% less damage to you, and you're dealing 20% more damage to them. So right off the bat, you've got full uptime on Shield Wall and full uptime on demo shout. You're reducing all incoming damage by 70%. You're unkillable. Some of these packs took me a while to kill, mind you. Like, I was stuck on some packs for, 3 minutes. But my health never dropped below 95%. Like, it was just great. So for these last ones, those are the ones you really, really want to stick with and work with, and that's your build. Keep those and get them going whenever you can. So I'm going to go up here and tell you which ones are really good and which ones are kind of to stay away from. So the damage of Whirlwind and Thunderclap, super solid, very good to have. Rage Regen, super good. Champion's Decree, don't like it. Hurricane Heart, the healing's nice. Take it if you have to. The Edge of Hatred is actually a really, really good common. This stacks up to 5 times I've had it. And Shield Wall can start dealing a lot of damage, especially with that charge ability. Works really nicely. This one here will stack twice. The Periapt of Furor. Berserker Rage lasts 300% longer. It causes your party members to have it too. That doesn't matter. But you will get a 42-second fear immunity. And fear can just ruin a run in Twisting Corridors if you get feared on the 5 or 6 seconds on their cast. This will straight up eliminate it. And as long as you have kicks for that 18 seconds where you don't have it, chef's kiss. This one here is nice. Don't prio it. Rage isn't really a problem. This one here, the Succulent Carpaccio, ignore pain, absorbs additional damage equal to 10% of your maximum health. There is a lot of maximum health increase Anima powers in here. Take them. My HP was, I think on my last one was 312k HP. And Ignore Pain would ignore like 200k of that with a stacking ability, increasing with the Soul Conduit. So it just works very, very nicely, and it is another damage reduction. So 70% of the damage is being reduced, and you're ignoring half of that basically all of the time. You can't get any better than that. Things are going well. Berserker Rage, this Tarnished Medallion, is actually very solid. It is a nice heal, especially when used with the common, the Periapt, because you'll have a 5% heal every 3 seconds for 42 seconds. There's nothing wrong with that. This Thundering Roar, I can't comment on that. I've actually never seen it. I've never gotten it, not once. So, it's in there, baby! The Overgrowth Catalyst, this one here with the Living Wood Pommel, super good. Increases that agent and increases rage regen and increases the damage of all of those agent aftershocks that you're just blowing off. Really nice to have. The Spell Reflect, if you're not really good at timing that Spell Reflect, very, very good ability to have here. The Misshapen Mirror. The Fan of Longswords is actually pretty decent. Because the damage from Whirlwind gets increased from your normals, and you're already casting Shield Slam anyway. This just adds that extra damage to everything. Very, very nice. This Shrieking Flagon, I hate it. I do not like it at all. The reason why is I like to control the packs that I've pulled. And with this, you have a very good chance to pull another patrol that you wanted to avoid or things like that. If you're comfortable with Chaos, take it. It's fun. If you're not, and you like to control what you're doing in Twisting Corridors, especially on your 8, just stay away from it. Ogundimu's Fist. Ogundimu's Fist, yes. Pommel knocks the target away and stuns them for 4 seconds. Number 1, this activates whether they're using something that you can kick or not. So, if you just need them to stop casting an unkickable ability, use it. And this also works in tandem with Smoldering Initia, because when the Pummel launches them back, it actually launches them just far enough for you to charge back in, and this works on bosses. This is a very, very good ability to have with that, so that way you can punch them back, charge in, you're refreshing that 200% damage, and it just works really, really nice in tandem with one another. For some of these talents here, the War Machine's nice. If you want to gain the double time, I would go with the Rumbling Earth. That's just me. There's a lot of multi-packs. Crackling Thunder is nice. The Never Surrender, I don't care for it. It's just not useful because your health is never getting that low anyway. You're never seeing this talent in play. Best Serve Cold is nice. Revenge and Thunderclap are two, especially once you get up there, are two of your highest AoE abilities. Very, very nice to have. And Into the Fray. It's nice. Extra haste. Why would you say no? Even if it's a little bit. If your other abilities crap, take that. You're good to go. So with the rare Covenant powers, we've covered that one. The epic. So this is where a couple of the traps are. Gibbering Skull is really good. Getting hit has a 10% chance to grant you Ignore Pain, which has a 50% chance to grant you Shield Wall. Really nice. But if you're playing your abilities anyway, Scratch Knife. Your first Shattering Throw on a floor deals 4,000% increased damage and shatters an anima cell from the target. Early on, I'd say if you get this anima power by floor 12, it's solid because you're going to gain anima powers every floor. Earlier you get it, the better. If you start getting it later, it's really not worth it. It does deal a nice chunk of damage, mind you, but it's literally once per floor. So don't really count on it. Signet of Tormented Kings. This is a trap ability. It is just not worth it. And the reason why is the Bladestorm ability. The Bladestorm ability, yes, deals a lot of damage, 100%. But you can no longer block, parry, or dodge while that is happening. And that is just really wrecking with your survivability. When I did this run, I did take this one near the end of a TC, and I got Bladestorm. And that I got brought down to 10% health by some of these mobs. I think it was TC6 or 7. I do not know. But just, I avoid this because it has the chance to really ruin what you've done with your build, which is constant avatars, constant demo shouts, being able to charge and have full control. Getting the recklessness is nice, but there's an RNG there that just it seems like you always get Bladestorm when you don't want it. And that's kind of the deal there. So that's actually one of the trap abilities that I do not like. The Umbral Ear Trumpet. Your shouts cause you to yell another random shout. This is an okay ability, but it's actually really good if your singing stones have not picked your demo shout yet. Because this way, you're always going to get one ability that's already lasted long enough, most of the time, to give you that 90% increased damage when you're going. And the Warlord's Resolve. This is a really good defensive option, and the reason why you do not have to pick Bolster, because it reduces the cooldown of Last Stand by 80%. And if you gain this one here, the Battlelord's Ultimatum, you gain the Anger Management, which then you take Bolster. Last Stand's 24 seconds. So you have a 30% heal that's going to give you shield block with the Bolster whenever you need it. And it's a good emergency, but you're almost never going to need it. But it's nice to have it when you do, and it's really worthwhile. So all around, super solid there. Really good to have. This Petrified Wild Seed, whenever an Ancient Aftershock generates Rage, it also reduces the remaining cooldown of ability. It's nice, but do not prio it over the others. First epic you absolutely want to take is the Smoldering Initia. No ifs, ands, or buts. That's the one you want to take. We'll go from there. Yeah, this is driving me nuts. It's close. And that's it there. Now, there is one trap. Not one trap. One that you need to be careful with. There's one that for every floor that you ascend, you will gain 15% increased damage, but 5% less health. It's nice. That damage is nice, but it is not needed. I got it on my TC7, and I noticed it was wrecking with my survivability because my health was actually decreasing faster than I was getting the HP bonuses. And when you get those HP bonuses, it's based on the current health that you have. So play with it at your own risk, but that's your choice. Aside from that, really, this is a build yourself to be indestructible and death by 1,000 cuts to the others. Work your heroic leap. find out what the minimum of your heroic leap is. So let's go back over to so find out what your minimum heroic leap is, so this right here, and make that little jump, and then move around quickly when you have to, and get that 200% increased damage. Do it. It's worth it to work that heroic leap around. And if you have if you're a Night Fae, soul shape away, turn around, and use your charge. The charge ability does not work with the Wild Hunt's charge. It has to be your charge. But regain that back. Work that around. Work your kicks in to push them back. And using this, you should easily be able to solo Twisting Corridors 8 and get that mount, because 9.1, we're excited it's here, but it's seeming like it's still very, very far away. So aside from that, I really hope you have a lot of good luck with your Twisting Corridors 8. Was there something that you used that I did not, that I found that just wasn't useful, that you used that could be absolutely game-breakingly broken? I think this was the safest way. I literally soloed from 4 until 8 in like 3 days whenever I could play, and it worked really, really well with this build. And it just works so synergistically well together, because some of these powers in regular Torghast don't have the time to get broken, but in Twisting Corridors with 18 floors really, really do, and can really, really just put you right up there. Because when I was showing people kind of howing my build and stuff on stream and things like that, and they were like, "You're taking no damage." Well, yeah, I have a constant 70% damage reduction up all of the time, and Ignore Pain is ignoring like 200k health. How are you even hitting me at this point? Like, I know 50% of the damage from Ignore Pain, Ignore Pain only ignores 50% of the damage, but when you're ignoring a damage reduction of 70 right off the bat, you're not taking anything. You're not. And your Indomitable is healing you for a lot. 1% of your maximum health at 300k is no small chunk. Like, it just works nice whenever you're spending 10 rage, which is why you want to be using Revenge as much as you can. So it just works really synergistically well with each other. So aside from that, I hope your Twisting Corridors is going well. I hope that you get your mount for the Maw. It is super nice to have. I did not know how much I absolutely wanted it until I got it, and then I just ran around the Maw doing nothing but being on my mount and being like, I can do this! So aside from that, I hope you guys are enjoying Shadowlands as much as I am. And is there something I missed? Would you like another class guide on something else? Working there. I am leveling up another warrior to put in another covenant. I am leveling up another warlock to put in another covenant, because I want to kind of cover different things. Because I know Night Fae warrior isn't quite the meta, but a lot of warriors are actually coming around to how strong Night Fae is in the current state of Shadowlands. So we're gonna see how that goes on there. So aside from that, I hope you have yourselves a good one. Please, if you like this type of content, like and subscribe. Give me a comment. Tell me how I'm doing. Am I doing terrible? Do you absolutely love it? Do you like what I'm doing? If you have any questions, I stream on Twitch every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and I play D&D on Sundays, which we stream that game as well. It's been a lot of fun and absolutely ridiculous. So come by, check that out. I hope you guys are having yourselves a good time, and I'll catch you next time.